Welcome to the Masterclass. I'm your coach, and today we are tearing down the Cambridge AS and A-Level Accounting 9706 syllabus. We're zeroing in on the exact spot where even top-tier candidates hemorrhage marks: books of prime entry. Now, before an invoice, receipt, or credit note ever touches a ledger, it lives right here. These books, whether we're talking about the sales, purchases, returns journals, the cash book, or the general journal, act as the absolute gateway for all financial data entering a business. But listen to me closely. Understanding how to navigate these isn't just about balancing numbers or memorizing grids. If you want an A-star, you need to understand the very blueprint of how examiners grade your papers. We are going to look through the examiner's lens today. I've analyzed years of principal examiner reports, and the pitfalls are always the same. Students treat these journals as simple data entry tasks, completely missing the high-level analysis the exam board actually wants to see. We're going to fix that right now.
Mastering these journals isn't just a recommendation, it is absolutely non-negotiable for your success. This isn't a topic you can afford to skip or skim over with the hope that it might not show up. The hard data shows that questions on books of prime entry appear in literally every single examination series. If you are sitting for the 9076 exam, you will be tested on this, period. And they won't just ask you to draw a table, they are going to hit you with complex, high-tariff questions, those massive 9 to 15 mark monsters that dictate your final grade. To beat them, you have to master command word anatomy. There is a world of difference between analyze and evaluate, or explain and to what extent. If a question asks you to analyze a cash book, you are breaking down the mechanics, the inflows, the outflows, the specific treatments of cash discounts. But if it asks you to evaluate whether a business should digitize its books of prime entry or stick to a manual system, that is a whole different ballgame. You are weighing up costs, security risks, efficiency, and making a justified final judgment. Today, we are going to look at exactly what the principal examiners are looking for and how you can secure maximum points when that inevitable, high-stakes question appears on your desk.
We have a lot of ground to cover, so here is our exact agenda. We'll start with core principles, move into the method mark strategy, outline procedural frameworks, expose the top 3 examiner traps, and finally, look at mastering critical analysis.
Let's move straight into Section 1 and build your theoretical foundation. The fundamental truth you have to grasp is that these books are not just isolated ledgers or random lists of transactions. They form a systematically connected web of evidence-based reasoning. The theoretical architecture here rests heavily on precise definitions and causal relationships. I want you to imagine 2 of my top scholars, let's call them Alex and Sam, debating a 12-mark exam question about a fictitious company, Smiths Electronics. Alex is highly technical, brilliant at formulas. Sam is a creative thinker, incredible at building arguments. When asked to record a $10,000 credit sale of laptops in the sales journal, Alex just wants to list the date, the customer, and the amount. Boom, done. But Sam understands the causal relationship. Sam knows that single entry triggers a direct ripple effect. It dictates a specific update to the trade receivables control account at the end of the month and also hits the individual customer's account in the sales ledger immediately. They debate the layout, and Sam rightly points out that if you get that prime entry wrong, your control account won't reconcile, your suspense account gets messy, and the entire balance sheet is compromised. Understanding that massive why behind the simple what is your first step to mastering the material.
And look at this insight straight from the principal examiner reports. Examiners actively reward you for showing how this topic connects to the rest of the syllabus. This is exactly what Alex and Sam were arguing about when trying to unlock those top-tier marking bands. Cambridge evaluates you on 3 main assessment objectives: AO1 for knowledge, AO2 for application, and AO3 for analysis. Alex's factual listing, that's just AO1. It barely scratches the surface. Examiners do not want to see tunnel vision. For example, if Smiths Electronics records a massive equipment purchase on credit, it doesn't go in the purchases journal. That's only for goods meant for resale. It goes in the general journal. A top-tier candidate won't just mechanically log the debit to machinery and credit to the supplier. They will demonstrate how that conceptual framework integrates with broader accounting principles, pushing into AO2 and AO3. They'll mention how this precise general journal entry sets the baseline cost for non-current assets, which subsequently dictates the depreciation calculations for the next 5 years. When you show those cross-topic connections, you elevate your answer from a simple mechanical exercise to a brilliant display of comprehensive accounting knowledge.
Let's shift gears to Section 2 and look at the mechanical execution required to secure those critical process points.
Before we deconstruct this incredible 6-step method, I'm going to pause our session right here. If you are serious about crushing your Cambridge exams, I need you to hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O&A levels at the handle at acetheexam_IGCSE and enable all notifications right now. We drop weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategies just like this one, and you do not want to miss out. Okay, back to the board. By following this exact 6-step sequence during your exam, you farm method marks because you are systematically proving your process to the examiner. First, you deconstruct the question constraints. Second, you extract relevant data. For instance, if Smiths Electronics offers a 5% trade discount, the prompt will almost certainly throw in a 2% cash discount just to trap you. You have to filter out that cash discount when doing your initial prime entry. Third, select the framework. Fourth, execute with notation. Let me tell you about a major roadblock Alex and Sam hit on step 4. They were drafting a model response paragraph by paragraph, and they completely stalled on timing and linking their points. Alex wrote a massive, dense block of pure numbers, while Sam wrote a vague paragraph about business strategy with no data. I stepped in, paused their timer, and showed them the cognitive strategy to get unstuck. You have to weave them together. You start with the strict data from step 2, the adjusted invoice total, and seamlessly link it to the accounting principle. We rewrote their flawed section out loud, transitioning it from a mediocre, disjointed answer to a flawless, full-mark response that flowed perfectly. Finally, you verify results and present with correct terminology. Even if your final number is off due to a calculator slip, proving your methodology through these 6 steps ensures you capture the vast majority of the method marks.
Now let's dive into Section 3, the strict conventions you absolutely must follow when presenting your data.
Doing the math right is only half the battle. If you want to demonstrate professional skills and maximize your score, you must relentlessly apply these exact procedural formatting rules to every single entry. This means using proper headings. If you just write journal instead of general journal or sales returns journal, you are losing marks. It means using the correct, syllabus-approved terminology rather than casual shorthand. Imagine presenting these financials to a board of directors. You wouldn't just scribble random numbers on a page. You must use appropriate formats, ruling off your accounts properly, carrying down balances as balance C/D and bringing them down as balance B/D on the first of the next month. You need clear annotation to show you're working, especially when calculating net amounts after trade discounts, and where asked, provide performance evaluation. The examiner is looking for a practical application that mirrors strict professional standards. Skipping a heading or using sloppy formatting literally leaves easy marks on the table. Let's move to Section 4, the conflict area. We are going to review the most common pitfalls directly from the examiner reports.
I am going to run an immersive workshop segment with you right now. Imagine a 60-second countdown timer on your screen. According to the data, there are exactly 3 major mistakes that consistently destroy candidate scores in every single examination series. You might assume the biggest errors are arithmetic, but the reality is much more systemic. Let's break these traps down so you can spot them instantly.
Okay, here's your Spot the Flaw challenge. Imagine a student writes this answer. They record the purchase of a delivery van on credit inside the purchases journal. They forget to write the date, and when asked to evaluate the impact, they just write, "It decreases profit." Time's up. Did you catch the 3 errors? Let's highlight and annotate the correct paths. Trap number 1 is using the wrong approach for the given context. You cannot put a non-current asset like a delivery van in the purchases journal. That journal is strictly for inventory. It belongs in the general journal. That error alone throws off your entire gross profit calculation later. Trap number 2 is forgetting format and presentation. No date, no folio reference. You just threw away your professional skill marks. And trap number 3, the most fatal one, is providing generic answers. Saying it decreases profit is useless. You need to explain that purchasing a van on credit has no immediate impact on gross profit, but the subsequent depreciation will affect the profit for the year as an expense. Memorizing textbook definitions won't save you. You have to apply the specific accounting mechanics to the exact scenario in front of you.
Finally, let's explore Section 5, where we look at how top-scoring candidates elevate their answers through critical thinking.
Let's look at a complex data analysis question. The difference between an average candidate and a top scorer is beautifully illustrated here. When asked to perform a comparative analysis, say evaluating the use of a digitized accounting software versus a manual books of prime entry system, an average student just lists out facts on the left side. They identify simple similarities. But look at the right side. This is the top-tier approach. You must identify both similarities and differences while explicitly using comparative connectives. Words like however, whereas, or conversely. Most importantly, you must use evidence to draw conclusions about relative importance. It's not just about what is different, it's about why that difference matters to the business in the given scenario. For example, pointing out that a manual cash book provides a tangible physical trail of signatures, whereas a digital system offers real-time bank reconciliation, is good. But concluding that for a high-volume retail business, the digital system's speed outweighs the manual system's physical trail is exactly the kind of deep, comparative, AO4 evaluative insight that earns 15 out of 15 marks. The ultimate takeaway for your long-form answers is to avoid generic robotic responses at all costs. Evaluative thinking requires you to question the underlying assumptions of the data provided. You have to consider different perspectives. For example, how does correcting a major error in the sales journal impact the finance director's view of short-term liquidity versus the shareholder's view of long-term profitability? Examiners want to see that you understand these trade-offs. You must justify your decisions with hard evidence from the prompt, linking every single analytical point back to the given business context. Are they a sole trader or a limited company? Do they have cash flow issues? Use that context. That is exactly what the examiner means when they say context-specific application.
To ensure these rigorous frameworks stick, I'm going to synthesize this entire masterclass into 3 core memorable pillars for you. First, the 3-step question scan. Always isolate the command word, the content required, and the hidden constraints. Second, the paragraph balance formula. Weave your AO1 facts seamlessly with your AO3 analysis using those comparative connectives. And third, the last 5 minutes review checklist. Check your dates, your headings, and your terminology. To tie all this together, use a visual story method to encode these concepts. Don't just memorize the sales journal as a rigid, boring grid. Visualize it as the living story of actual inventory leaving the warehouse. See the cash book as the actual flow of physical money into the register and out to suppliers. By using a visual story method, the strict rules of double entry become logical plot points in a business's daily operations rather than arbitrary rules you have to force yourself to remember. Even Alex and Sam realized that once they stopped seeing numbers and started seeing the story, their grades skyrocketed.
So, here is my final provocative question for you. How will you apply this visual story method to deeply analyze context in your very next past paper practice? Knowledge without strategy is just trivia, and crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent, relentless strategy. You need to put this into practice today. Before you go, I want you to hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams, IGCSE O, and A levels at the handle @AceTheExam IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our future exam hacks, and get down in the comments right now and type out your target grade. Claim it, work for it, and map out your story. I'll see you in the next session. Keep grinding.